Is that okay, Kylie? Or we could get 4 up here. B, why don't you just scoot over? No, you don't need to move, but why don't you just scoot your seat over a tad? Okay, yeah. There you go. Why don't you guys? Oh, then you can come up. You just sit here, please.
Are we on? We can start.
Ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ba ya ba ba ba, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bam. Oh ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ba ya ba ba ba, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bam.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
We pray that in this space, normally the prayer says, may the door of our synagogue be wide enough. We couldn't have a wider door. In fact, as this is often the season of weddings, in which I get to be under the chuppah with couples in an open space much like this, and then in just about a month we'll be in this space as a sukkah. We pray that our prayerful spaces are wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all looking for friendship. May we welcome all who have cares to unburden and thanks to express. May we allow people to share their hopes and nurture them. And so too, may we make sure that the walls that are around us shut out pettiness and pride, that the threshold is no stumbling block for those who have young or straying feet. And so too, may it shut out selfishness and harshness so that this space that we call a sanctuary become, for all who have joined us, whether physically or through our virtual stream, a doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. And so we'll enter this space by lighting our candles, saying our blessings on page 2 in our prayer books for those who have their prayer books with them. We pray that as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
On page 10 in our prayer books, Hine Matov, how good it is that we are here together in whatever way we get to come together these days, that we remind ourselves that more than anything we are not alone. And so at this season when we'll be together many times, in many ways, Hine Matov u'manaim, how nice it is that we get to experience this season together. Page 10.
Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד.
Last week, we welcomed many of our children into a new service here in this space. We were here. It was equally hot and humid and sunny. And we started Shabbat by having our kids lead us. I mentioned that so that we can reach back to wherever, whether you were with us or whether you were somewhere else last Shabbat, to wherever you were. Judaism asks us to look back week by week. What have these 7 days been for you, and how will we close this week in order to enter into Shabbat feeling a sense of wholeness and peace, wiping the slate clean so that we can have a day we pray is filled with blessings, not with burdens. And so whatever the blessings of this past week have been for you, we ask that you take note of them now, bring them into our prayers as we start our Shabbat. Page 20, we welcome Shabbat into this space, the words of Lecha Dodi. The very last phrase, when we get to Boi v'Shalom, we ask Shabbat to enter peacefully as we'll turn towards the entrance of this space and welcome Shabbat in as a bride. Page 20 in our prayer books.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet ve'letchila. Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'mashavat chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Ki va'orech kumi uri shir daberi, Kavoy Adonai alayich nigla. Let's hear it. Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala. So much better. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise as we face our entrance.
Boi v'Shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha uvtehola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala. Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Those who would like can remain standing, page 26.
Yitgadal v'yitgada shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrachu tevam lich malchute B'chayechon u'vyomechon U'vchayedecho Beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru, amen. Yehesh me rabba mevarach, le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitbar, v'yitroman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, b'richu, le'elam mincho birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, ve'imeru.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opening gates, thoughtfully altering time, allowing us to notice the change in the seasons. Umavdil ben yom uvein laila, allowing us to see the difference every day between light and darkness. El chai v'kayam tamidim loch aleinu leolam va'ed. God, may you allow us to offer our praises, to see the blessings every day and into eternity. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim, blessed are you, God, who brings on the change from day to night. We say together at the bottom of page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. The more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Microphone is here, so please some audience participation.
Page 34, 35, Shema. Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Can be seated. So we'll share the English of Yahavta, page 36 and 37.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon thy heart, shall be upon thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorpost of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, and that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
You look on page 38, it's traditional that as we finish the words of Yahavta, that you immediately say the first words of this prayer at the top of the page, Emet, Aleph Mem Tav. The words, for those who are looking in the book, those three letters are bolded. And we often say these three letters that together say, they translate to the word truth or trust. The Aleph is the first letter of the Aleph Bet, the Tav the last, the Mem in the middle. During good times, we say this is because truth should be all-encompassing. Lately, what we've been saying is perhaps it's Aleph, Mem, and Tav, because some of us find truth all the way at Aleph, some of us find a truth all the way at Tav, and Mem, we have a hard time meeting in the middle. So as we continue to struggle with our different truths, trying to find the one that we share that will lead us to a place in which freedom is not something that's debated, but rather something that is blessed and shared. We share the words that our people said when they found that space in the middle, a space in which they could cross through the Sea of Reeds and together experience a freedom that was not on the right or the left, that was not debated, but rather that brought them to sing out in song, to unify, to be a community together. Page 40, the words of Michamocha, followed by the words of Hashkivenu, our prayer on this evening to find a sense of peace as day turns to night. Page 40, followed by page 42.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar v'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef ele, Norah tehilot osef ele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeh yam lifnei Moshe, Ze Elianu ve'amru, Ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar v'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef ele, Norah tehilot osef ele.
Page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. O Adonai. One more time with that. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. O Adonai. Sound great. Thank you guys for
We
singing.
rise once again, page 46. Our Amidah, beginning with the words, God, allow us to use our words for words of praise and words of prayer. 46, we face east towards our building. Sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei
Hakol, Bezocher Hasei Avot V'Imaot, Umevi Ulal Livnei B'neihan, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Oshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofe Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umechaye Munato, Lishene Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Mimi Tu Mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Beneman Atah Lechayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol.
Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh u'Kedoshim b'chol yom Yahalelucha Sela Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael. God, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and in our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you in this land, in Zion restored, and in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. As we think about all of the ways, modim anachnu lach, that we are thankful for what we have, we also turn towards those who are in need of more in their life, not more things, but shalom rav, an overwhelming sense of peace. In whatever way their world has been disturbed, whether personally, whether it's nationally, We wish for them this prayer, that the world find its sense of peace. Page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol edu v'chol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Take a moment just for our personal, private prayers.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Page 253, we offer our prayer for those who are in need of healing. We certainly think of those whom we know personally, those who are in the hospital, those facing COVID or any other disease. So too those who face mental illness, and it's appropriate that as we think of those, as we follow the news, those who've lost someone, as we think of the American service members and the Afghani people, people who are missing someone who just days ago was a part of their life, or who are rushing to protect someone they hope to keep a part of their life. They too are in need of our Misha Berach, our prayer that they find a refuah shlema, a full sense of who they are and who they want to be. Page 253, we'll share any names we would like in the midst of the prayer.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
Are there any names you'd like to share? Please share them aloud.
Gary Coleman.
Max Joseph. Max Joseph. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. This time of year, as the holidays are so close, we try to use this month as best we can to prepare for them. Last week, we talked about the Ashamnu prayer, a prayer in which it asks us to point at ourselves and ask ourselves where we've been responsible. Today, I want to share an even more serious prayer. If you can imagine, we go even further. You know, we tend not to stop at guilt and pain. We tend to just keep driving. So I want to talk about the Unatana Tokef, which is a prayer that has been debated as to whether we should even share it because it's so hard. But first, some words from Abraham Joshua Heschel that I think pose the right question for us. And in some ways, I guess I would say the Unatana Tokef is the answer to his question. He asked the question, what is it that we expect to attain when we enter a synagogue? He said, when we enter a library, we expect to learn. When we enter a museum, we expect beauty. When we enter a concert hall, we expect beautiful music to move us. But what is it, and I would add at the holidays, what is it on Rosh Hashanah and especially Yom Kippur that when we enter into this space, whether we do that from our living rooms or whether we do that by coming into a synagogue this year, what is it that we're expecting to get out of this experience? His answer was that we need the synagogue to experience moments in which spirituality is as relevant and as concrete as the aesthetic. In other words, I should be able to enter a synagogue and leave having experienced spirituality the way I leave a concert hall having experienced beautiful music, the way I leave a museum having seen something that was beautiful to my eyes, the way I leave a library and know I learned something. I should know, leaving a synagogue, that I have been spiritually changed. So, we should ask ourselves that question. And, I would say, somewhat seriously, we shouldn't expect all of that to happen because of the rabbi and the cantor. A lot depends on how we approach the coming weeks. And so for those who are here today, physically with us, for those who are joining us, for those who might be watching this on a Wednesday, on our recording, all of you have tuned in just before the holidays. And so I say it's time for us to get ready. And there's been disturbing images that, and here being a rabbi is, I guess, something that sometimes you wish you could just shrug off and not have that side of your brain turn on. But as we've been hearing and reading the news and looking at images in Afghanistan of people who are trying to leave the country, of people being passed over gates and fences, families deciding whether some of them will live and some of them may not. I can't help but hear the words of a prayer that we say. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed, who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? As we sit back and perhaps say, I cannot imagine what it would be like to be on that wall, to be an American service person, trying to bring people to safety and to watch people who I can't take. Judaism would say, in part, that's what Yom Kippur is supposed to make you feel like. And so my answer to Heschel, really to us, when we come to the synagogue at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, when we tune in this year from home, we should feel it is the most serious of times. And I think that's hard now, because I, too, have watched Shabbat services from my kitchen table while cooking dinner and talking to my children and juggling 18 other things, but enjoying the sounds of Shabbat in the background, because that's what Shabbat should feel like. Shabbat should be interwoven into our lives to try to interrupt our lives. But Yom Kippur is about life and death. It should feel that serious. And so we should prepare ourselves for that level of looking at the world this year. And why, if you look in our prayer books, not the ones you're holding, but the one I'm holding, that you'll hold soon enough, our mocks or our high holiday prayer books. Let me give you just briefly the answers that some of our commentators, when we approach this prayer, you'll have the chance to dabble in some of their words. I will live and I will die. Who will live and who will die? Rabbi Ed Feinstein says, I will. Me, like every human being. I live and I die at the right time, and I live and I die before my time. I wander, but I might yet find rest. I will be troubled, but I may achieve tranquility. This is the central truth of these days, these high holy days. It's what makes them the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, or sometimes known, as he says, the days of terror. They remind us how vulnerable we are. And so we prepare to be into a spiritual space where we can be afraid. So too. What else is the day of terror? Unatana Tokef says one of our prayers. This is the day when the words are old and the language was theirs, but the call and the message is ours to take hold of your life while you still have the chance. Because your story could end this year, but it might not. So take hold of your life, make things right while you can. Don't waste another minute. Don't miss the call of Yom Kippur. So too, another commentator says it's a day in which we face that which scares us so that we can be more grateful. But I want to close with these words. It's the very last section of our prayer book on this prayer. And I have to imagine it was put in this order in purpose, starting with Rabbi Feinstein, who says, this is a day of terror. It ends by saying that this is a day in which we should be in awe and remember how powerful it is for us to survive these moments and to be stronger. And so the prayer reads, when we walk through a valley of darkness but find courage to live in the shadow of pain, we transcend the harshness of this day's decree. When we speak about fear with honesty and share what is hardest to say, we transcend the harshness of this day's decree. When day becomes night, but we let ourselves hope, that's when we transcend the harshness of this day's decree. When we feel far from caring and friendship, but let go of pride and build up the courage to ask for help. That is Yom Kippur's way of telling us that we transcend the harshness of this day's decree. And when in grief, we are crushed by the absence of love, but we open ourselves up to your presence, God, to the presence of those around us, to our community. That too is when we transcend the harshness of this day's decree. And so we are entering into every day a little closer the seriousness of this season. It is the most serious time for us, and I think it may be hard to turn off all the things that are around us this year more than others, to fast as long as we have in the past. But as we leave at the end of Yom Kippur, as we have Havdalah at the Ne'ilah service, we say that we're standing at a gate, and that we have passed through, and that the gates have closed, and that we have made it through, and that we can embrace life once again. We go through that experience, I believe, so that we can remind ourselves of how courageous we are, to be vulnerable, to be afraid, to face death, to remember those we've lost, to take account of this year, but to continue to go on into the year ahead. I pray that we enter into the synagogue and the sanctuary and the holidays with seriousness, that we give them the time that they ask of us, that we face life and death as they ask us to do, but so too, that we leave them and look back and say, what did this space give me? It gave me life once again. It reminded me how to value a minute, how to return to the people most important to me and spend my time with them, how to look into the future, no matter what the past has been, with hope and optimism. That's how we leave a serious space on Yom Kippur as we enter into what will be Sukkot and the coming holidays of dancing with the Torah at Simchat Torah and the rest of the year to celebrate Hanukkah this year just after Thanksgiving. It's a great blessing. Turkey and brisket in 1 week. May we look forward to all of that because we took these days seriously, because we spent the time wisely, because we looked at life and death and chose life. May the days ahead be meaningful, and may we spend them together however we choose to do that. We'll continue page 282 with Aleinu. We face east once again.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Take a moment now to remember those that we've lost, especially those whom in our community we've lost in this past month. Morton Emmerman, Tiffany Wolf, and Ellen Migdal. We offer our condolences to their families in the midst of these recent losses. And so too, we remember those that we lost at this season in years past. Dorothy Birnbaum, Louis Philip Birnbaum, Lois DeCoste, Penny Frank Dubeck, Sidney Felder, Ben Felstein, Harold Firestone, Samuel Goldman, Sarah Goldman, Eve Henkin, Ben Hollub, Samuel D. Cates, Albert Klausner, Archie May, Gerald Meltzer, Rose M. Milstein, Ben D. Oster, Dr. Philip Panitz, Molly Reisberg, Bob Rosenthal, Joseph Shear, Dr. Victor Schiller, Ruth Schulman, Ona Sloan Schultz, Martin Schweiger, Hattie Shaw, Betty Jane Schechter, Lawrence Siff, Joel Silverman, Louis Topper, Jacob Weinberg, Ben Wise, and Samuel Zoss. If there are names I mispronounced or names you'd like to add, please share them. We rise, page 294, as we honor and remember those that we've loved and lost. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olmei olmaya, Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, huya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Having connected with those that we've loved and lost, we bless each other with the words of the priests.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's presence be with you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace.
Amen.
Please join us in Kiddush as we share together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
We'll join together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. You can be seated as we'll invite Elaine Newman, one of our co-presidents, to share a few announcements.
Guess I'm going to have to talk really loud. Oh, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, you can take that.
I can talk loud. We know that. Who said we know that? Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'd like to take a moment to thank Noah. Noah, you're getting better and better. I don't know if you're taking music lessons behind the scenes, but yeah. No, but you're wonderful, and thank you so much. Thank you to Rabbi, and Rabbi had me all worried tonight because I'm like, Now I got to worry about Hanukkah and Thanksgiving falling together. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm preparing for Rosh Hashanah. So thank you for making me worry more. And thank you, Kylie, for bringing all this to everybody out there. Join the Akron Pride March for Equality tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please let Carol Freeman, who's sitting in the front row, know if you're marching. Masked and social distancing are recommended. Join Rabbi. Yes, you may.
We just have a new plan to meet at 9:30 in the parking lot of Spaghetti Warehouse and look for the people wearing light purple shirts.
Spaghetti Warehouse at 9:30. Look for the people wearing purple shirts if you're going to march. Join Rabbi Brown for the last session in person or on the patio for his books if you've read them or you haven't read them. And don't forget to order your challahs, mandel bread, and all those other things by September 2nd. And Sisterhood is still looking for some bakers. If you could contact Patty Margolis, that would be wonderful. Or if you want to bake, contact any one of us here tonight. And 18% off in the gift shop until October 18. Shabbat Shalom.
I want to say, is that on? Now it's on. A couple quick things, reminders about high holidays. First of all, they in many ways begin tomorrow night, Slichot, here. Please register. Tomorrow night is just like the rest of the holidays, not like Shabbat. And so bring your vaccination card, bring your ID, bring a mask, because we're going to be inside. We have a beautiful service with beautiful music that will sound and feel like the holidays, and we'll change our Torah covers into their white coverings, which we keep on through Simchat Torah. So please join us for that. Please register if you have not. Something you can do to prepare for the holidays if you plan on joining us in person is take a picture of your vaccination card and your ID. And that way when you show up, so long as you don't forget your phone, which we all know nobody forgets their phone, you will have your vaccination card and your ID on your phone should you have forgotten to bring those and you want to be here for the holidays. And lastly, please, 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 even if you aren't sure if you are going to join us in person, if you think you might join us in person, please register online because it's a huge help for us to know how many people are planning to be in person so we can help set the space up correctly. So the sooner we know everybody likes to RSVP the day after the event. Please don't do that. Please RSVP yesterday and help us to plan. There will be a slight change, just to make a quick note. For our Rosh Hashanah family program, family service, we changed the location to the JCC Pavilion because we think it'll be better for a lot of reasons. We'll tell you that 100 other times, but I'm making the first time I tell you now. So we'll close. We thank Noah and Kylie, as Elaine did. Did I forget anything? No? Okay, good. We'll close with the words of Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Those who are here, please stand as we go into this Shabbat and prepare for, at the end of this Shabbat Slichot, the beginning of our High Holy Days. Please join with us. Yet another prayer that peace increase in our world.
Asking a group of Jews to do something early,
I know,
it's tough.
I know, it is tough.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Anyone else feel the rain? Well, Shabbat Shalom. Let's get to our
Shabbat
cards.
Shalom.
Perfect timing.